Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is your boy D Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that's the digital asset space, guys. I wanted to follow up on the stream and or video that I did this morning and I think yesterday as well about India and its UPI. So I kind of got some things cleared up. Shout out to the Martian Report, helped me to clear some things up as well. Watched them earlier today. So here's the deal. This is officially the last time that I will kind of wonder about whether or not Ripple, the behemoth, the giant that Ripple is not involved in some way with having to do with India, but more importantly, or more especially with anything having to do with faster payments. And so here's the thing, guys. So remember this article here. It says It says Google tells the federal banks to replicate India's UPI platform for this interbank service, saying it's fast and open, right? So UPI was thoughtfully planned, and critical aspects of its design led to its success, says the company, adding that its three aspects, interbank transfer and real-time system and open system, led to the platform's major success in India, right? So I didn't read much of this to you guys when I did the live stream, right? And so here are some interesting things that really it's important to note. Number one, the Reserve Bank of India, that's essentially RBI is the central bank for India, right? And what can be called as a major achievement for the National Payments Corporation's NCPI, the tech behemoth Google has recommended the United States Federal Reserve Bank to replicate India's unified payments interface, to replicate it. It didn't say necessarily to pick it up. It said to replicate it, to kind of get a system very similar to that, right? Which I didn't catch initially. Interface model for its proposed interbank real-time gross settlement service called FedNow. FedNow should be an open system because this openness fosters collaboration between technology and financial services providers, said the company. Now, this is Google, right? An initial seed investor into what company? Ding, 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 ding. Ripple. Right? I missed this all earlier. So talking about his experience of launching payment service Google Pay in India, Google said the integration of Google Pay with UPI gave amazing results for all stakeholders, including banks, customers, other players within the payments, which is important, other players within the payments ecosystem. We've been pretty vocal that we believe the right model for driving payments is through a partnership between the bank, governments, and tech companies. Through the banks, governments, and tech companies. Google saying how they've been pretty open about that. Through open and standards-based infrastructures like UPI. And so there is such a thing, right? There is such a thing, right? It's the XRPL. It's the XRPL, right? So tweeted Caesar Sengupta, General Manager and Vice President of Payments and Next Billion Users at Google, right? And so that's very, very interesting that they said that. I missed that, and I missed a whole Google thing when I was doing. I missed the Ripple partnership as well. Well, not partnership, but seed investors into the company, Ripple. And so what they're saying, this is, they understand that there's a payment system that works for interbanks that's open sourced, right? And they can't probably say Ripple because they seed investors in it, but the idea of something that's open, that's interbanked, right? And those are the key things with standards-based infrastructure, right? And so that's exactly what the XRPL and the RippleNet represent. So here's some things. So this is kind of important to know. Some of the success is massive. Google's letter to the Fed, written in November, talks about a rapid rise in UPI just 3 years of its launch. UPI, the Universal Payments which is India's flagship payments platform, was thoughtfully planned and critical aspects of the design led to its success, right? Adoption of the system was rapid, growing from 100,000 monthly transactions to 77 million to 480 million to 1.1 billion monthly transactions in the first 4 years, right? And so to me, that's kind of saying that Google knows about what RippleNet and XRPL. Maybe they can't say anything because they're a seed investor and that would be a conflict of interest, but they're pointing to something where they're not seed investors and they're pointing to the strengths of that UPI. And we all know that RippleNet, the XRPL, has those strengths and same strengths and even more. strengths to it, right? So it has even greater value than this UPI, right? And so it's talking about that stuff there. So I don't want to point that out. So that's pretty cool. I mean, the fact that it's working and they put something together, I think is awesome. So a couple of things to note here. Google seed investor in Ripple, the company, right? And they're writing to the Fed saying, hey, you guys need to pick up something and replicate it. I thought initially they were saying to pick up UPIs, to pick up the UPI system, but that is not what they said. It said, has recommended the United States Federal Reserve Bank to replicate India's unified payments interface. Why would you think they would say that? So here's something that's interesting. The wording is a little on the dicey side, but I'll read it for you nonetheless. Makers of India's UPI app is bringing Ripple technology to India, right? So again, this is Indian Web 2. So this is a, writer subscription, website type of deal, right? So here's the thing. Embracing change is difficult, but it is what we have to do in order to move forward. One such change that the world is currently warming up to is Ripple technology. Bridging the gap between traditional finance and blockchain technology, Ripple has been successful in making a lot of flurry in Asia. And now the technology is all set to take over the Indian subcontinent. According to the latest developments, National Corporation of India, remember that? It should have been in NPCI. The other one said NCPI, but the National Payments Corporation of India, a Mumbai-based startup closely guided and promoted by the Reserve Bank of India, which is their central bank, and the Indian Banks Association. Okay, there's an Indian Banks Association as an umbrella organization for all retail across India, and credited for making the UPI app is the one that is most likely to bring Ripple to India. And so here's the thing. That's a little bit dicey on the wording, right? But this is what we do know. We do know that 100%, I believe they said, I know they said 80, but someone pointed out 100% of the banks on RippleNet. The challenge right now is what's going on in relation to ODL and XRP is the Reserve Bank of India, this whole deal with digital assets. So they may be embracing blockchain technology, but it's the cryptocurrency part that they haven't moved forward with. The central bank hasn't moved forward with. Okay, so they're dealing with payments, cash, fiat to fiat with this UPI, but moving forward with crypto, they have not yet. So here's what Ripple can do is they can put these people on the Ripple net, take advantage of the other two products, right? And have that leverage and that relationship and that working relationship until the Reserve Bank of India and maybe the government behind it finally figures it out, okay? Finally comes to their senses and understands that the Ripple technology and will meet regulations and meet with regulatory clarity that is operating in different nations that do have regulatory clarity. So you get these banks all set up on a Ripple net just awaiting the clarity. And then when they do, they can transition them, right? Because Xcurrent 4.0 can transition right in and use the ability and use the greatest digital asset ever created, which is XRP, which allows them to use ODL. So for that, it's just a matter of time. It's, from Swell, from different events, Ripple has definitely said and has announced 80 to 100% of the banks on the Ripple net. So that is exciting. So that is the deal there, So in terms of cross-border payments, in terms of how they can begin to use the greatest digital asset to, speed up the payments, make them more, make the banks even more connected for cross-border payments, Ripple is involved in it. So the insights, really the inside story is really Google is saying to Fed now, there's technology out there. And the fact that they're promoting, that Google is saying that kind of the banks, the governments and private tech companies, it really is just pointing it into all directions. That is Ripple. And so I don't need to go over for the uninitiated what Ripple is, because you guys all know what Ripple is. But if you want to check out that article, here it is. Here, you just put that into Google and read that article. So guys, so that's what it is. Forgive me. I didn't get clear enough. I should have done a little bit more a deeper dive into it. But all things having to do with payments, faster payments. Whether it be Google essentially writing to the Fed saying this is the thing. And I showed you guys. I showed you the article that was on CNBC.com with Brad Garlinghouse when he said 90. This is back in the day. He said 90 bank. We've contracted with 90 banks and the federal faster payment system and the Fed faster payment system. Remember that? So yeah, all you gotta do is kind of put two and two together. It's just really just a matter of time before the announcement, in my humble opinion. So anyway, guys, I hope I cleared that up for you guys. I hope that makes sense. Let me see here. Switch back over to here. Yeah, so I am hoping that makes sense for you guys, and that's kind of the deal. So I apologize I didn't get that correct. UPI, what they're doing is awesome. What India is doing is awesome. But it is, we cannot disregard the fact that 80 to 100% of the banks in India are on the Ripple net. They're waiting for this kind of clarity, if you will, in terms of cryptocurrency or digital assets, right? Because the central bank is still not moving forward with that in terms of, what they're going to do, how they're going to look at it. They're embracing technology, not necessarily the digital asset end of it, but it's just a matter of time. We all know that. All right, guys. So listen, thanks so much for hanging out. As always, never ever forget this. Never ever forget this, guys. Please, never ever forget this, guys. Never. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know. That the battle for you has already been fought. And the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.